Good morning, everyone. So, shall we begin the session? Okay. Today's topic is the next topic in the last class for this topic due to the network problem. So, the next topic that we have left over is the software. We have discussed about the hardware. What is the hardware? How it is used? Now, any doubts? Anyone in the hardware? Yeah, very good. That is tangible in nature. That is known as the hardware. Whatever is intangible in nature, that is also known as the software. So, one is a hardware, one is a software. Software is intangible that we cannot touch. Hardware is tangible that we can touch. This is the main difference between the hardware and the software. And when I talk about the software, there are two types of software. One is application software, one is system software. Yes, operating system is a part of the application. Operating system is a part of the system software that is used. So one is a user, then application, then operating system, hardware. So software is a set of the instruction that tells the hardware what to do, how to do, and software is not tangible, that is we cannot touch. And when the programmers create the software programs, what they are really doing is simply typing out the list of instructions. What are the various instructions that tell the hardware what to do? That means what are the various instructions that is followed up, and what to do, that means what is to carrying out with the list of the instructions. And there are several categories of the software with the two main categories that is being operating out, which makes the hardware usable and makes the hardware software run, which does something useful. Now, example of the operating system includes Microsoft Windows on a personal computer and Google's Android on a mobile phone. And when you talk about the examples of the application software, such as the Microsoft Excel, and when you talk about the operate system software, the best example is the operating system that is common to each and everyone. Next component after the hardware and the software is the data. Whatever the values, whatever the facts, whatever the instruction that we are carried out, that is known as the data. In simple terms, whenever we are using the term data, that means a collection of the facts. For example, your street address, your city in which you live in, your mobile number, all are known as the, or we can say that is known as the data. Like a software, data is also intangible. We cannot touch the data. And by themselves, pieces of the data are not really very useful. But when we aggregate, when we organize, when we summarize, when we give the finishing touch to the database, or when we give the finishing touch to the data that is in the form of the database, now that in that time, data can be or will be very powerful tool for the businesses. And in fact, all of the definitions presented at the beginning of this chapter focus on how information system manage the data. And organization collects all kinds of data and use it to make the decisions, whatever the decision that is carried out. This decision can also be or can then be analyzed as to their effectiveness, and the organization can also be improved. Next is the networking communication. That is how we can communicate within the network. That is the fourth technology piece. And besides the component of the hardware, software, and the database, which have long considered the core technology of the information system, it is also advisable that any component or any other component that should be added up, that is known as the communication. And information system can also exist without the ability to communicate. The first personal computer was standalone machine that do not access the internet. And however, in today's life, that is a hyper-connected network, there is a need for the interconnection, the need for the communication within the network. That need will be fulfilled by the networking components, communication component. That is also part of the technology. That is made up of the hardware and the software, but it is a core of feature of the today's information system that has become its own category. And we will be covering networking in this in the next chapter, that is chapter number 5. Then after the data, next category is the people. How many people or what are the various people that is involved in the networking? And when thinking about the information system, it is easy to get focused on the technology components and forget that we must look beyond these tools to fully understand who are the peoples. That may include the stakeholders, that may include the managers, anyone. But the people that works for the organization, or that is used in the works for the organization that is used in the information system. And the last component of information system is a process. So process is a series of the steps undertaken to achieve a desired outcome or a goal. And when we talk about the information system that are becoming more and more integrated with the organization process, bringing about the productivity and better control to the process. But when we simply automate the activities, so technology is not tough, it's not enough. That is, the business is looking to effectively utilize the information system to do more. And using the technology to manage and improve the processes both within a company and externally with suppliers and customers is the ultimate goal, is the ultimate task. So the last component over here is the process. So we can say the last component of the information system is process. That is a series of the steps, series of the instructions that we have followed out, that is undertaken to achieve a target, to achieve a desired outcome. Information system are becoming large and large, that is applicable while discussing the data, while taking out the data. So instructions are or information system are coming up with the technology, are becoming more and more integrated technology and integrated with the organizational processes that bringing more productivity and better control to those processes. But when we simply automating the activity using the technology, that is not enough, that is not okay with the technology. And using technology is not enough. Business also looking for the effectiveness for the data that is applicable for the effectiveness of the data that is applicable for the suppliers and the customer, that is ultimate goal. And the technology buzzwords such as the business process re-engineering, business process management, and the enterprise resource planning, all we have to do with the continuous improvement of these business procedures and the integration of the technology with them. And when you talk about the businesses that is hoping to gain an advantage over their competitors, are highly focused on the competition of the information system. Whatever the information system that is carried out, that is used with the information system, that is used with the information system for the business process re-engineering. And all we have to do with the continuous improvement of these processes, these process and the procedure that is using the technology to process. Now, what is the role of the information system? Why we are more focused on the information system? What is the main advantage of the information system? So we have explored the different components of information system. Now we are going to focus on the what is the information system and how it is focused on the information system. What is the usage of the information system, how it is gathered, and why it is so useful for the information system that is carried out within the procedure. So information system means what are the various components that is carried out within the organization, that is carried out within the organization for various components. And from our definitions we have discussed various components that is used to collect, store, organize, and distribute the data throughout the organization. That means these are the few main points. So first one is the collection, then storing, then organizing, distribution of the data throughout the organization. So whatever the organization that is carried out, that means how the data will be organized, how the data will be stored, collect, and distribute throughout the organization. And when we talk about the information system, that is used to take and turn the data into the information system. So first of all, we have to take the data and that turn into the information. That means we have to give the information, we have to take the information, we have to take the data, and that converts into the information and then transform into the organization knowledge. So the first part is taking the data, next part is the information, and next part is the organizational knowledge. And as when the technology grows up, when the technology has grown, this role has evolved into the backbone of the organization. That means it's immersed in the technology that is the backbone of the organization, that is also the information system. This is the mainframe era, and from the late 1915 through the 1960, computer was seen as a very effective way for the calculations. And these first business computers were room-sized monsters that is used with the size, or that is used with the several refrigerator-sized machines linked together with each other. This is one of the example of the IBM International Business Machine that is used for the manufacturing the processes, making it more efficient, and from taking inventory to creating the bills of the material to scheduling the production. Now, how the PC will be involved, we can say that recognize that the PC revolution. The first microcomputer was announced on the cover of the Popular Mechanics that the Ultra 8800, that is immediate popularity, sparked the imagination of the entrepreneur everywhere, and there were quickly dozens of the company making these personal computer. That is the first role, that is the first place that is used for the computer effectiveness. And because of the IBM PCs of an architecture, it is very easy for the very easy for the other companies to clone for it, to copy for it. Now the next part is a client server architecture. So the next approach is the client server architecture, client server approach, in which there is a client and there are multiple clients and there is only one server. Server guides the clients. So this network architecture was used as a client server architecture because there will be login into the LAN from their PCs, that is a client, and by connecting to the powerful computer, that is known as a server. So one is the powerful computer, that is server, and there are multiple PCs, that is known as clients, which means that we are granting them rights to different resources on the network, such as shared file areas and the printer. And when we talk about the software companies that began developing the application that allowed the multiple users to access the same data at the same time. So same data will be available at the same time, that is used to access the same applications, same data. This involved into the software application for communicating with the first real purpose or popular use of the electronic mail that appearing at this time. And this networking and the data sharing are used within the confines of each businesses for the most of the part. And while there are sharing of the electronic data between the companies, so sorry, this was a very specialized function. That means this is one of the main function that is known as a SAP. This symbol is a trademark of the SAP. And it was during the first era when the ERP system was developed and focused on the client server architecture. And ERP system is a software application with a centralized database. That can be used to run on a company entire business, and with the separate modules for accounting, finance, inventory, human resources, and many more. ERP system with the Germany SAP leading the way, that is representing the state of the art in information system integration. So that is used with the ERP system as a part of this chapter on the process. Now next one is the World Wide Web and the e-commerce. Now what is the www and what is the e-commerce over here? What is the www? That is the World Wide Web, and one of the main point over here is, yeah, that is the same. When we search the information over the web, that is a World Wide Web. Any information can be gathered with the help of www. That's why in the URL, in the address bar, we always mention www.google.com. And now, main point is that who is the father of the www? So Tim Berners-Lee is the father of the www. So there is a person that is known as the father of www because he had made this www. That name is the Tim Berners-Lee. This is mentioned over here. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee developed a simpler way of researchers to share the information over the network at Sun Laboratory, that is known as a www. And this invention became the launching point of the growth of the internet also. That is the main point. In the 1989, it was launched the growth of the internet as a way for the business to share the information about themselves. And as the web browser and the internet connections became the norm, companies used to grab the domain name and create the website. Nowadays, everyone or every organization have a domain name. Every organization have a websites. And this is one of the example that is given for the Amazon.com. And this, there is a digital world that has become a dangerous also place. Computer viruses and also worms also propagated the sharing of the computer data. So this is the limitation that while using the internet, there are so many limitations also. There are so many drawbacks also. One of the drawback is that there's a, when we use the internet, there is a chances of the virus, worm, or any malicious code that is used via the internet. And software written for a disconnected world found it difficult to defend against these sort of threats. Now, the new technology for this www is a Web 2.0. So this technology in the business continue to evolve at a very good pace, and when website will be used become interactive. So instead of just visiting a site to find out about a business and purchase its products, customers wanted to be able to customize their experience and interact with the business. This new type of interactive website where everyone can find or know how to create a web page or do any programming in order to put the information online, that became known as a Web 2.0. So it is a new version that is used for the blogging. What is a blog? That is a personal website we have created, or we can say the mini website, then social networking and the interactive comment that being available on many websites. And this new Web 2.0 world in which online interaction became expected. That had a big impact on many businesses and even the whole industries. So the process of technology replacing a middleman in a transaction is known as the disintermediation. Now, what is the next question? Should access to the internet be considered a right thing? Can I copy a song that I can download from the internet? How can I keep the information that I put on a website private? These are the various questions that is handled by the www, that is handled by the Web 2.0. Now, next is the post-PC world. So after 30 years as a primary computing device would be used in most of the businesses, the sales of the PC are now becoming to decline as the sales of the tablet and the smartphones are more advanced. Why? Why? Because this is a new technology, portable, easy to carry, we can say. Everything is available over the smartphone. The limited storage and the processing power of these devices is being offset by a move to the cloud computing that is used to store, share, and take the backup of the information on a massive scale. This will require new rounds of thinking and innovation on the part of the businesses as technology continues to advance. This is the era of the business computing. This is the era that is the mainframe. What is the hardware that is used? What is the operating system that is used? What is the application? So mainframe hardware means terminals connected to mainframe computers. Then operating system, time sharing, then applications, custom written or the MRP software, then PC, that is the next era PC, IBM PC or the compatible, sometime connected to the mainframe computer via the expansion card. Then operating system is MS-DOS, then the application is WordPerfect and the Lotus 123. So this is the www, that is the IBM PC clone connected to the company intranet, then Windows XP, Microsoft Office and the Internet Explorer. The next is the Web 2.0, that is for the mid 2000s to the present, that is laptop connected to the company Wi-Fi, and the operating system is Windows 7 and the applications is Microsoft Office and the Firefox. The next one is the post PC, that is the today and the beyond. This is the Apple, iPad, iOS and the mobile friendly websites, mobile apps. Now, can the information system being competitive advantage? This is the next topic. So can we use the information system that is one of the competitive advantage? That can wrote an article in the Harvard Business Review that questioned this assumption, and this article is IT does not matter. That raises the idea that information technology has become just a commodity. So instead of viewing the technology as an investment that will make a company stand out, it will also use something like the electricity that will be managed to reduce the cost, ensuring that it is also running. This is one of the example of the Walmart, that is the information system to become the world leading retailer. This is one of the world leading retailers. This is the trademark of the Walmart stores that is also using the information system. This says that Walmart continue to innovate. That in nowadays, right, today, Walmart also continues to innovate with the information technology, and you're using a tremendous market presence. Any technology that Walmart requires its suppliers to implement immediately becomes a business standard. And this is a summary of this one. What is the main summary of the information system? How it is gathered? And how we are focusing on the information system, what are the various components, that may be a technology, that may be a people, and the process. And during each of these phases, new innovation in the software and the technology also allowed the business to integrate technology more deeply. And we are now to a point where every computer, every company is using the information system and asking the question, does it bring a competitive advantage? Whether it brings the competitive advantage or not. Now, this is over. What are the various questions? So first question is, what are the 5 components that makes an information system that we have discussed in the today's class? What are the various 5 components? These are the 5 components. One is the technology, then there is the hardware, software, data, and the people. So first is the technology, then people, hardware, software, and the data. This is the example of the 3 system information system hardware. That may be a hard disk, that may be a CD-ROM, anything. Now these are the few questions. Like third one is a Microsoft Windows is an example of which component? So Microsoft Windows is an example of the operating system. Operating system is a part of the software. So this says it is an example of which component? This is a component that is a software. Then what is an application software? So application software means that is customized as per the user's requirement. That is application software. What roles do people play in information system? What is the main role that the people play? So everyone is comfortable with the information system, and information that is carried out in the information system is processed in the categories wise. Next is, what is the definition of a process? A definition of a process means what are the various content by which we can access the by which we can process the information. Then what was invented first, the personal PC or the internet? So first of all, it was invented with the personal computer, that is a PC. Then in what year restrictions on the commercial use of internet first lifted? That is 1989. And what does it mean to say most PC world? Then what is the CARE main argument about the IT? This is also the exercises. Now comes to the first component of this, we can say the information system, that is hardware in detail. In the first chapter we are talking about from little that is hardware, software. The next topic is the next chapter is the hardware, that is in the detail. What is the hardware, how it is used. So upon the successful completion of this chapter, you will be able to describe the information system hardware. Then identify the primary component of a computer and the function they perform. So first of all, what is the information system hardware? Then what are the various primary components of a computer and how they function or how they perform? Then explain the effect of the commoditization of the personal computers. So first is the introduction, that is the learning objective of the hardware. So an information system is made of the 5 components: hardware, software, data, people, and process. And the physical component is that we can touch, that is known as the software. Sorry, the physical component that we can touch is the hardware. And in this chapter, we are talking about look at the components of the information system, that is a little bit, and how it works, and discuss the most trends or some of the most trend that is used in the information system. So as stated above, computer hardware encompasses the digital devices that you can physically touch. And this includes the devices such as the following: desktop computers, laptop computers, or mobile phones, tablet computers, e-readers, storage devices such as the flash drives, input devices such as the keyboards, mice, scanners, output devices such as the printer and the speakers. So one is the desktop computers, then laptop computers, mobile phones, tablet computers, e-readers, storage devices, input devices, output devices. And besides these more traditional computer hardware devices and many items that were used that were once not considered digital devices that are now becoming the computerized themselves. An example of these types of digital devices includes the automobile, the refrigerator, and even the soft drink dispensers. Now, what are the various digital devices? Anything that has a in the to form or any signal that has in the to form either on or off, that is a digital device. So this process electronic signals that represents either 1 or 0. And the on state is represented by the presence of electronic signal. The off state is represented by the absence of electronic signals. And each 1 or 0 is referred as a bit, that is a group of the 8 bits. And the first personal computer could process 8 bits of data at once, and modern PC can also process 64 bits of data at a time, which is where the term 64-bit processor comes from. The next one is the sidebar, that is understanding the binary. What is a binary number? That is either 0 or 1. Then prefix kilo represents 1000. Example is kilobytes. We can done. Then mega 1 million megabyte. In the same way gigabyte. In the same way terabyte. So these are the few examples. First one is a CPU. Now, what is the CPU? That is the brain of the computer system. Whatever we process, that may be a limited board, that may be a large circuit board, everything is done or everything is using the CPU. So CPU is the main component. That's why it's also known as the brain of the computer system. And what is the measurement of the CPU? So always the CPU speed is measured in the hertz, and this is defined as 1 cycle per second. And using the binary prefixes mentioned above, we see that the kilohertz is 1000 cycle per second, megahertz is 1 million cycle per second, gigahertz is 1 billion cycle per second. So these are the various cycle that is available for the CPU, various measurements of the CPU. And the CPU processing power is increasing at an amazing rate. And besides the faster clock time, many CPU chips may contain the multiple processors per chip, and these chips are also known as a dual core, that is a 2 processor, and the quad core, that is a 4 processor, that increases the processing power of the computer by providing the capability of the multiple CPU. This is one of the example, that is the data of the introduction that we will discuss. The next one is a motherboard, that is also the hardware concept. This is the motherboard. So motherboard is the main circuit board. So motherboard is the main circuit board on the computer. Whatever the CPU, memory, and the storage components, among other things, all connected into the motherboard. So everything is connected via the motherboards, and motherboard comes in different shapes and the sizes. So every component that is connected via the motherboard So how the modern motherboards have become integrated components such as the video and the sound card. Nowadays everything is available within the motherboard only, that is the sound card, graphic card, video card, everything. And the motherboard also provides much of the buses of the computer, that is termed as a bus, that refers to the electrical connection between the different computer components. So bus is an important determinant of a computer speed, that is a combination of how fast the bus can transfer data and how the number of data bits can be moved one time at a time that determine the speed. Now next part is a RAM, that is a random access memory. Hello, yeah, are you able to hear me, Mitty Benjamin? Hello, hello, yeah, are you able to hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So RAM is a random access memory. Okay, Mitty Benjamin. So when a computer starts up, it begins to load the information from the hard disk into its working memory. So automatically it will load the memory concept. If we load the system concept that is used in loading into the memory. This working memory, that automatically the data goes into this memory, that is known as the RAM. And we can also transfer the data much faster than the hard disk, and any program that you can running or you are running on a computer is loaded into the RAM for processing. And in order for a computer to work effectively, some minimal amount of RAM must be installed. And most of the cases, adding more RAM will allow the computer to run faster. So if for example, a laptop contains 4 GB of RAM and we are increasing the RAM from 4 to the 8 GB, that means the speed of the computer will be faster because everything is stored within the RAM. It is an internal memory, and that is known as, or that is in the form of the volatile memory. Volatile memory means it can store the data as long as it is receiving the power. When the power is or computer is turned off, any data that is stored in the ROM is lost. So whatever the data that is stored in the ROM is lost, that is a volatile memory. So it is applicable, or it can store the data as long as it is receiving the power. And RAM is generally installed in a personal computer through the use of the dual inline memory schedule, that is DIMM. And the type of DIMM accepted into the computer is dependent upon the motherboard. And as described by the Moore's law, the amount of the memory and the speed of the DIMM have increased dramatically over the years. Next one is a hard disk. So while the RAM is used as a working memory, the computer also needs a place to store the data for the longer term. RAM is a working memory, but it is a temporary memory. It is volatile in nature. So computer also needs a place to store the data for the longer term. And most of the today's personal computer uses the hard disk for the long-term data storage. And when we talk about the hard disk, it is where the data is stored when the computer is turned off and where it is retrieved when the computer is turned on. So why it is known as a hard disk? Because it contains, or it consists of the disk. We can say it contains a disk that consists of the tracks and the sectors. Now next is a solid state drive, that is SSD, that is also one of the category. Then removable disk, that is example of the floppy disk, pen drives. The next is the network connections, how we can give the network connections. That may be using the USB cables, that may be using the 2000, that many personal computer also begin including the wireless networking capabilities, and this technology will all be discussed in chapter number 5. Next one is input and output. This is the USB connector, as we say. And in order for a personal computer to be useful, it must have a channels for the receiving the input from the user, whatever the input that is received from the user. These input and the output devices connect to the computer via the various connection ports. So it is connected out via various connection ports, which generally are a part of the motherboard and are accessible outside the computer case. So it is used outside the computer case, input and output devices, and in early personal computers, specific ports were designed for each type of output device. And the configuration of these devices was reported or evolved over the years, that becomes more and more standardized over time. Now everything nowadays, every computer has a plug and play facility, that is with the help of the USB port. Now what is the full form of USB? That is Universal Serial Bus. These are the various examples of the USBs. So besides the USB, one of the more next device is Bluetooth, that is also used for the wireless technology. That is standard technology wireless, that is known as the Bluetooth. And for devices to communicate via Bluetooth, both the personal computer and the connecting device must have a Bluetooth communication chip installed. That is installed within the Bluetooth, that is Bluetooth communication chip. Next is the input devices that I'm going to start in the tomorrow's class, that in the Thursday's class. So that's all for today's session. If there's any doubts, any clarification, you can ask the doubts. So in the today's class, we will discuss about the Bluetooth, what are the input and the output devices. Sorry, what are the various inputs, what are various components of, that is the first chapter, what are the various components of information system. And we are also started about the hardware in the detail in chapter number 2. And we are also talk about the USB port, Bluetooth, everything. For tomorrow, there is an input device, that is the next chapter. Now, Betty Benjamin, any doubts regarding anything? Yes, tell me any doubts, anything? Okay. And I will share the material latest by tomorrow. All right. Yeah, this is very familiar. This is a basic, that is what is the information system, that how the information system will be used in the organization. Everyone knows. And this is very little module. We can say small module. Only 3 LOs are available within this module.